Oh, it has been absolutely forever. Welcome back to another brand new episode of Rivalries. I'm your host, Abhin.
And I'm your co-host Rohit. Yes, it has been a while. Um, Partly, I think a large chunk of it was because of me. I was not in the country the last week. In fact, Poonam and I had gone to Thailand. As a result of which, where we had taken a cooking class, today I made khao sui at home. It's extremely spicy. I got Indian chilies are way spicier than Thai chilies.
What an
Let's
intro!
see. Yeah,
I,
we'll see
I
how it
was,
goes.
I was here, yeah, I was here about to say, man, they were like, watch out for them in the next season of the White Lotus debuting in exactly 1 week from the day of us recording this.
No, so the idea was we wanted to go before White Lotus airs because then everything is going to get more expensive. I was seeing if there's a correlation, right? It happened in Sicily, it happened in Hawaii's always been expensive, but it specifically did happen in Sicily that, especially Taormina, where the first season was, apparently all hotels have like prices have skyrocketed. So we're like, hey, let's get it out of our way before it becomes too expensive. So we slightly unplanned last minute, but it was a nice week. But yeah, the Khao was too spicy. We will see how that goes.
Uh,
Anyways, coming back to what we're going to talk about today. So, as Abhin and I have mentioned, I think numerous occasions across episodes, while we did go to the same college, what the thing that first brought us together was quizzing. We still hold a love for it. Uh, Life doesn't allow us to give as much time to it as we would like, but
mhm.
I think once a quizzer, or there's an irrevocable change in your uh, mental wiring that can't be undone, right? So I think once a quizzer, always a quizzer. Given that background, Abhin said, "Hey, why don't we do Starter for 10?" I hadn't heard of the movie to be honest, but I looked it up. So like, hey, there's a movie on University Challenge, which for those who don't know is a televised intercollegiate quiz show that happens in the UK. So I looked it up and I was like, hey, sounds interesting, good cast, which we'll get into. Before we start the show, just a disclaimer: this episode is probably going to be a fairly even split of Abhin and me just reminiscing about. Just quizzing in general and what it has meant to us because I think the ramifications it has had goes far beyond just the specific quizzes we attended. And it's going to be, of course, a part film critique, but again, the movie is not super deep. It's a feel good, breezy 1.5 hours. So yeah, with that, let's start the show.
A lot of this, this entire podcast came off the back of Rohit and I sharing a love for film, and that love for film and we've always had it. We've had it since we were kids, but quizzing has kind of accentuated that for us. Like since we got into it, we started chasing down a lot more of the kind of stuff things that we like talking about. And I thought, hey, started for 10 coming of age film, uh, a movie that time has forgotten in a certain way.
Yeah.
uh, it is remembered more for its cast than it is remembered for its premise. We'll get into why that is. Um, Written by David Nicholls, directed by Tom Vaughan, starring James McAvoy, Alice Eve, Rebecca Hall, Benedict Cumberbatch, James Corden, Dominic Cooper.
Dominic
Just
Cooper,
listen, you.
all folks just they were that were caught just before they made it big, right? Like James McAvoy was
Mhm.
a year away from Atonement. Benedict Cumberbatch is what 4 years away from Sherlock. I mean, I'm sure he was a little better off known before that. Alice Eve, again, yeah, I don't know what she's known for per se. Maybe Star
She's
Trek
out of
was
my
her,
league.
which was again, I think, a couple of years or that year itself. So
2010.
no, and I think like you were saying, it was also the year of Rebecca Hall in Prestige. It was the year of her debut. Like I think I remember you mentioning.
Yes.
In that sense, in terms of casting, it was a lightning in a bottle.
And the premise of the film is very simple. It's a coming of age film, has a boy from a small working class background, once dreams of going to university, probably the first person in his family to do so. You have his working class friends, you have the posh love interest, you have the slightly manic pixie version uh, of whatever an English university student is in Rebecca Hall. You have the uptight, slight, probably conservative nemesis who turns friend at the end of the film. It's just, it has all those boxes. It has the conflict. It has the redemption arc in the end.
It
I
is the
don't think
most
for a second.
formulaic movie. Yeah,
Exactly, right? That this is a movie that screams 2006.
yeah.
But yet, oddly, there's something very endearing about it. I think this is a movie that when it came out, it I think it flew under the radar pretty
Hmm.
spectacularly. It does have a good review score. It's about 90% from 77 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, if I remember correctly. But in essence, it's about a bunch of people who are trying to win university challenge for their college. I think Bristol College is what they're in, is where they're at, and it's their motivations and whatever sort of drama behind the scenes that is unfolding. Uh, yeah, so that's in essence is what the film is about. Now, when I went and watched it, so this is the thing, right? I was able to identify with a lot of
Yeah.
similar characters that exist in quizzing circles. Now, for the interest of, I'm not going to like
Name
go
people.
about and name
I'm so
people. That's not
tempted
who
to
we
though.
are. I know, no, I know you are, and I know you ask, but I don't want to start an unnecessary like wildfire
Yeah,
because you don't know how people will take things these days. So I'd rather
yeah.
not. But I will allude to certain characters which I'm sure are common across most quizzing circles. So if you don't know who we are, the chances that you've probably heard of someone that is similar to the kind of person that we're describing.
While you were, it just struck me while you were talking that a good way to sort of merge the 50-50 that we mentioned right at the top, right, which is talking about quizzing in our lives and talking about the movie, is to just speak about the memorable moments that we related to. Because, like you rightly said, there are a lot of moments where we're like, hey, something like this has happened to us, or I've seen this kind of person, or this moment I've been privy to. And then sort of weave our story so we don't really have to
Yeah.
demarcate it, and we can make it feel a little bit more organic. So let's do that. What's the first moment you felt was like, hey, something that's happened to me?
I think the first aspect of is of him watching University Challenge, and I
Mm,
think closer to India, the association we didn't have University Challenge. We had the Bone Meter Quiz Contest,
yes.
which for every '90s kid was like a massive. I mean, if you were interested in the medium, was something you
Yeah.
looked forward to because the Bone Meter Quiz Contest, in essence, was a ripoff of University Challenge. It was meant for school students and was quite popular in the '90s, led by Quizmaster Derek O'Brien, who is now a spokesperson or the right hand man of the Trinamool Congress. Back in the
Yeah.
90s, he was just a quizmaster who popped up on televisions and just enthralled a bunch of kids who he then had sign up for like his own quiz workshops. I think KQ or Knowledge Quotient was something he ran and was very popular in Indian schools. I was part of KQ, and I have met Derek O'Brien 3 times in my life, and all 3 times he has absolutely butchered my name, but it is what it is.
Oh, what
Yeah,
is?
he called me Ashok the first time.
Oh, I thought
This
he butchered pronunciation. ये तो मतलब fuck it, you're a shock now.
He called me Shabin and he called me Rabin once. So I was like, okay, this guy.
Shabin and Rabin. That's somehow
The
worse than
first time was
Ashok.
bad. Yeah, the first
This
time
is
I was
worse.
just like, wow, man. And the third time he met me, he went, I know you. And I said, Mr. O'Brien, I've known you since I was 10 years old, and you never got my name right. That's what it is.
Hey, but at least you're on surname terms with Mr. O'Brien. I think I also used to watch my fair share of BQC growing up, at least until I moved to Dubai. I mean, I was here till third, fourth grade. Unlike you, I never, I was a late starter in terms of quizzing. I never quizzed in school because in Dubai there wasn't a
A
quizzing
culture.
scene. I don't know what the,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what it is like now. Even when I came back here, I wasn't really aware of it up until engineering, which is when I started. I'll withhold how I started because I want to like link it to a scene in the film. But until the time I discovered quizzing, so to speak, in engineering, I never thought there was an outlet to all this random information that was in my head, right? Uh,
Yeah, I
which is
have a
why,
funny
anyway,
story about
I'll
this.
save that story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not related to me. Yeah, it's not related to me because I quizzed for a bit in school. I mean, I had my realization in school, but I had a friend, and it's. I'll get to it at the that section. Actually, I don't think we'll get to it, but I will kind of, we'll talk about it right now, very shortly. I
Yeah.
think 3 years into like our into quizzing in college quizzing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I brought Falah, who's been on the pod,
Fala.
and
Yeah.
I brought Falah for his first ever quiz for Under the People Tree, which was like the RV college
RVs.
quiz, which is a pretty big, yeah, pretty huge quiz. And he, at that point, I was like, "Have you?" I would remember asking him because we so this is how quizzes work, right? We look at the quiz master for each of the quizzes, we gauge their interest, and then we pick a team.
Yeah.
So we'd been doing Under the People Tree for about 3 years at the time, and the quiz master, who was Trisha Gopal Krishna, who's now I think at Cambridge, if I'm not mistaken,
Wow. Okay.
she,
Good for her.
yeah, so she was like, yeah, Rhodes Scholar and everything. She's fucking killing it. So she had a high interest in 50s and 60s cinema and European cinema, and
Okay,
I
400 blows question and all I remember
400 blows and
the
all of that,
previous
right?
year. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, there's only one person I know who watches this shit for himself and nothing else. So I called Fala and he said, "Will you come?" And he was like, "Yeah, cool. I mean, I've taken part in these small answer questions here and there. And I know, just come." And I think within the first 4 questions of the quiz, he turned to me and said, "This scene exists." And I said, "Yeah, Fala, it's thriving. Look around you." And he went, "Dude, I thought I was the only one who was watching stuff like this." And then as the quiz progressed, uh, he got more and more excited, and we ended up winning that quiz. And I remember
Yeah, I
ending up to him
remember
and
I
being
was
like,
there. I was with, this was fourth year of engineering. I remember because I was
hmm,
teaming up with the team that I still, Pai and Prabhu, that
it it is,
I
yeah, yeah,
teamed up with for a bit. And we were
it has
like,
the
and we
most
were,
infamous moment.
which
It
I
has
will
a
get
very
to. I'm
infamous
not going to let you live that
motherfuckers.
down. I'm coming to that. No, so in the fourth year of engineering, the team I was with me, I won't take again Pai and Prabhu. I won't elaborate what their names are. There are
Yeah,
big names now. But anyways,
everyone will know who they are. But okay, go on. Huh? We'll call them.
so
Okay.
we were doing fairly well, and without tooting my own horn too much, in that fourth year, we were in the college scene fairly strong, right? At least Bangalore college scene. Chennai people would come and then things would get a little more competitive. Uh, but we thought UTPT end quiz, we should, we fancied ourselves. Let's put it that way. And then you guys won, and I was like, Fala has a very characteristic look, and without
He does.
sounding
Yeah.
rude, right? Yeah. So I'm like, who the what the what is happening? I couldn't come to terms with it.
So I
I
think,
was like, who is
see, so
Abhin
there
God?
was a, yeah, it was a 3-person team, and I think you were familiar with Sid, who's also been on the
Yeah,
episode. Sid has these insane, has this knack of reaches, I'd call it. He would
yeah,
like look at a question and go, "I think it could be this. I'm not sure, but I think it would be a reach. It would be a stupid reach, but it would be inevitably be right." It has happened to us so many times where the three of us have teamed up. But we'd just be like, you know what, fucking who cares? Go for it. And he would go for it and he would win. So Sid was like familiar territory. You understood who he was. Um,
exactly. And because I've teamed up with you and Sid for end quizzes
hmm,
specifically, I
hmm,
told Prabhu and I'm like, hey, like I know them.
hmm,
We can beat them. I feel.
hmm.
Then when you guys were like, who the fuck is this unknown quantity that I'm not aware of? Some guy they seem to have gotten off the street who's come in and fucking butchered the quiz.
At one point,
And
at one point,
this
me and
was the
Sid,
quiz where
yeah,
yeah, no, no. So before you, I want to mention this. There was a quiz. There was a question, two-parter. Again, I'm forgetting the details of the question. Something about a woman's orgasm sound
I'll
was
explain. No, 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 no. I'll explain.
mixed
I will
into
explain.
the
This,
yeah,
no, no. This is my crowning glory. This is a moment this moment was happened in 2013. It follows me to this day because my friends are assholes.
and it
But I
rightly
will tell
should,
you.
yeah,
So what happened was there was a question about a song, a very popular song, instrumental, has a woman vocal belting, and the direct instructions to her were that imagine you were drowning and sing and use that as like your reference. So yeah, my girlfriend at the time had kind of given me the lore about this. Okay, and I knew the song, I knew the band, I knew everything. Rohit will take over now.
the question passes to Abhin's team, and they're like, so they asked for song and band name. Abhin says the song is Great Gig in the Sky. And the band he's thinking, and we are the next team. It was going to pass to us next. And we had we didn't have the first clue about the song, right, until these guys answered. And then when Abhin says Great Gig in the Sky, we're like, oh, okay, so 10 points. Obviously, if you know Great Gig in the Sky, you know the band name. Abhin is like, the band name, and he's looking here and there. And I'm like, no way. Okay, you have something to defend yourself with. Go ahead.
Fucking
Just
balloons pop up.
balloons.
Okay. Just- anyway, no idea. So watching this on
Yeah.
Spotify, like randomly like balloons popped up on my screen, I guess, to commemorate this moment.
No, so yeah.
I misread the question. I knew who the band was. I knew who the song was. I thought they were asking me about the singer, which is why I was looking at the portrait of the woman on the screen, going, "What's her name?" Completely having misread, or rather not read, the last section of the question. And this happened twice in the quiz, right? It happened in this section and it happened in the A to Z, which we'll get to in the latter half, uh,
Yeah.
which again
So
was
so the
fucking
question
hilarious. Hmm.
so the question passes to me, and I've been butchers. He says pass on the band name. I see he doesn't know part B. It comes to us, and I when I get the mic, while answering, I turn to Abhin incredulously, and I'm like, the song is Great Gig in the Sky. The band is Pink Floyd. And Trisha like 10 points, and I looked at her and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
And I'm just looking at that going, "You wanted the band?" She's like, "Yeah." "Come on, dude. I thought you wanted the fucking woman." And she's like, "No, I wanted the band." And I was just like, "Oh my God." And the whole quiz, and Omkar, who's also been on the pod, I was like, "I mean, dude, what, dude?"
But yeah, how did we get here? What were we? Oh, Fala, yeah.
Fala, yeah,
Uh,
basically, yeah. The anomaly of this
introduction
fella.
to quizzing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we brought him here, and I remember the end of it. He was like, "Bro, Falak, take your cash prize." He's like, "This cash prize?" I said, "Yeah, 4,500 per person." And he burst into tears. He was like, "Dude, the most I've won is like a book voucher for 150 bucks." I'm like, "No, here, take your cash and like, here's the check. Just go and cash it. Live your life." He's like, "I'm gonna come for all these quizzes." So happy. But
Yeah,
that's
but
the kind of those are the some of the
I think
the
everyone
fun
has
stories that
a
come out of quizzes.
yes. I think everyone has an
Hmm.
introduction story to quizzing, right? Which brings me
Hmm.
to the next memorable moment in the film as well.
Hmm.
At least memorable for me because it was relatable. Which is when he walks into that classroom for trials, right, to try and get into the team for UC, the college team for UC, and it was similar for me. The my introduction to quizzing was the freshers quiz that took place in our college. In fact, I very vividly remember the day. Me, Abhin, our third teammate Nitin, and our fourth friend Gagan, the four of us had decided to bunk a class, and we were just sitting near our college playground, not doing anything, just fucking around as you do in college. And two of our seniors, Adishesh, aka Booby, and Ashish Saligram, were just walking past. And I don't know what they saw, or I don't know if they had heard about us. They had no reason to approach this group of four guys sitting there and saying, hey, we're conducting the freshers quiz today. If any of you are interested, why don't you come? And you'll see how you're doing. If you guys are good, you can get into the college quiz club, stuff like that. And we were like, hey, we have nothing better to do. And they had said, I remember, if you come to the thing, you get attendance, like you get compensated for attendance. I'm like, hey, cool, you get attendance and you can bunk classes. What more do you need, right? That's all the incentive you need. So we went and attended the quiz. Um, Slightly different from how it happens in the movie. It wasn't like a written set of questions, where there it's like writing an exam paper. Um, Quizzing or it's not just quizzing in India. I would say
It
the
was
whole
it.
kind of quizzing we do is more PPT, and the other difference is it's not very trivia based quizzing, right?
Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah,
get
you
into how
see BQC, it's all very trivia based, right? It's one line questions usually, and it's a fact
one word
that you
answer.
need to know.
Hmm.
One word answer. And it's great for what in the quizzing circle, it's great for people who in the quizzing circle are called DBCs, right? Which is database truths, where, they've just mugged these facts and you can pull those facts, and it's great for DBCs. But the engineering, I call it engineering quizzing because the quizzing scene I've been privy to has predominantly been engineering students. But that sort of quizzing is more longer form questions, and in the framing and the wording, there are some hints, which there's some degree of lateral thinking involved. Which yes, you do need to know some facts, but the facts usually aren't super obscure, right? It's not like they'll ask you a question about some 2008 South Korean film director, name him. It'll be like this movie inspired something, and the answer might be something like Departed, but you need to connect a few dots to get to the answer. The answer will
I
probably
think
be a little bit
ultimately,
more.
yeah.
Right?
I think what engineering quizzes did, and this is a vast difference between that and and the shows and the quizzes like of UC as well as BQC. The answer is in the question. It's just a
Yeah, in a
matter of
sense. Yeah.
piecing things together. There's like following a trail of identifying the trail of breadcrumbs and following it to get to the answer is in a sense how
Yes.
quizzes work.
Which is
So
actually the more enjoyable aspect, right? Which is
far
why,
from it, yeah.
which is why there are two things. One, I don't enjoy solo quizzes. So there are quizzes you do as a solo person, which are called lone wolf quizzes, or if it's written quizzes, if it's a solo written quiz. I don't enjoy them because the part of quizzing that I enjoy most is as a team working stuff out together, right? When you're
Collaboration, yeah.
bouncing ideas of each other, and you get one piece, the other person is like, hey, I'm going to build on your piece, and the third person is like, I'm going to build on that, and together you come at the answer. When when that happens, the feeling is electric, right? Like like three or four, whatever, three of you are on the same wavelength, cracking stuff together. There is no better feeling, right? There is no better feeling. Which is why I don't like solo quizzing, and I don't like what in quizzing circles here are is called cold styles quizzing, right? Calcutta quiz circles used
Let's
to have
explain
these.
that. Let's explain the
Yeah,
different kinds of the terminology for quizzing, because there's cold styles. I think there's Bombay has its own terminology. Delhi has something associated with, and Bangalore has something associated with it.
yeah. I would say Bangalore and Chennai are very similar. Bombay, more and more so, is again similar style of quizzing, a lot of framing, a lot of stuff like that. Kolkata used to have what they used to call in informal parlance, we say cold styles, which is they used to have these one-liner trivia based questions. Uh, Not too much to work off of. You either know it or you don't. And Delhi, of course, is known for making shit quizzes. Again, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's just that I have literally never seen any good quiz come out of the Delhi Quiz Club circuit. Sorry, it's just one man's opinion. But anyways, I'm going to invite a bunch of
Hate for the
negative
Delhi
engagement
quiz.
when this
Yeah.
when this episode goes out. But coming back to the freshers quiz, right? Uh, there were 30 of these questions. I remember Saligram was running the PPT. It's super vivid in my mind. And I keep telling Sarigram, you're the reason I got into quizzing. You're like my quizzing godfather. And he actually stopped quizzing actively a lot before me. So he just is like, bro, please, like you've taken it far ahead. So please stop saying this. But anyway, he was running those 30 questions, and this was solo quiz. Each of us had to sit down and answer them by ourselves. And just so happened that I ended up coming first. Nitin ended up coming second, and you ended up coming third. Or did you come second? You ended up. It
I
was
think I
me,
came
Nitin, and
second, I
you,
think.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And after the quiz, two things similar to Fala. I had the same realization that so all those times I ditched my friends to go up and watch like random documentaries, all the random books I read, all the random bullshit that I've stored in my head for no good reason. This is where it can come into use, right? So this is what it all was for. So, so for me, it was almost like a come to God moment in the sense I was like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do for the next 4 years because I really didn't want to do engineering. I actually wanted to do BA Lit. I took engineering as in India called safe option, right? You need to get employed at the end of it.
Yeah,
And
of course.
a month into the course, I was like Job in Arrested
Fuck this shit.
Development. I've made a huge mistake. So uh, I honestly didn't know what I'd be doing for the next 4 years until the freshers. I was like, cool. I have found I know what I'm going to do. Right, this I'm going to spend my time. That was one realization. And after the quiz, when I saw the results, I was like, the three of us were hanging out at that playground an hour ago or an hour and a half ago, and now we came first, second, third. It makes sense for us to team up. We're already friends. Might as well
Yeah,
just team up. And then
might
that
as
was
well, right?
that was the team for the next 3 years. I think we did fairly well. Uh, we won a
I
few, we
remember our
placed in
first
a
quiz we
few.
went to. The first, yeah, the first quiz we went to RB for a quiz, and we got our asses handed to us when we came back. We made it. We were very happy to have qualified for the first one. I think we
That also was a
qualified,
drama. I
and
remember
then
first they said you've qualified. We're like, oh, awesome, great. Then they said, oh, you've just missed out on stars. We're like, oh, damn shit. And they're like, no, no, sorry, we miscalculated. You've qualified. We're like, what the fuck is happening? And then we ended up in the
the
finals
Molotov
with
cocktail
zero.
quiz. No, I remember.
Yeah, Molotov. That
Yeah,
was
I
the
remember.
first time I cracked. The answer just
Mm,
came to me. I was like, guys, it's Molotov cocktail.
mm,
And I remember that was the
mm,
first time I got that feeling that I was talking about. Right, it runs through your body when you're and
mm.
when you crack a question, the feeling you get, you feel like God. You're just
Euphoria.
like, I am a fucking stud, bro. For that moment, you feel that. And Molotov cocktail, yeah. But then we ended the finals with
Mm.
zero, so that was a real humbling.
I mean, we've had like a fair share, and we realized very quickly. So the one thing that also connected us at the time was none of us ever had any money. We were broke as fuck.
Yeah,
Just like I remember once, and my dad would then ask me, how much money do you have in your like account? I'm like, I have $10. He's like, how long have you had $10? For 2 weeks now. And he would just look at me going, what? And then it became the thing where we're like, okay, what we can do, aside from selling books to buy beer, we could, go to these quizzes where they have cash prizes. So there's incentives for us to like to get pocket money and not ask our folks for it. So there was
yeah, very much
also a
so.
driving factor. We're like, okay, yeah. So and thus began this epic search for all the random quizzes happening in town.
And I think it's as good a place to make this point as any, which is sure I did it for from 4 years of engineering, 2 years of MBA. I passed out in 2015. Up until 2021, 2022, I was fairly active. Even now, I have a set team that I go to quizzes for. I don't participate as much because the last couple of years, ever since I'm doing my own thing, I told my quiz teammates, guys, I'm taking a step back. You please go ahead, right? But
Figure it out. Hmm.
I have a set team and we are very close friends, even outside of quizzing, because again, we were friends who decided let's team up and go to quizzes together. And I think beyond just the quizzing aspect of it, what it has done for me is it has given me the friend circle I have, right? Because because I moved schools a lot growing up. I'm not in touch with school friends per se. PU, not really. College, you guys. For me, college and
Hmm.
quiz was overlap because my quiz teammates were my college friends. And there's Gagan, of course,
Yeah, to
and
be
few
fair, now
others,
that I
sure.
actually think of it, yeah, I think of it now. My college friends, barring Gagan, who was basically around all the time,
Yeah,
all my friends are quiz friends.
yeah.
Like you,
All my
Nitin,
friends, yeah.
yeah, fucking Mon, I
And
mean, Mon leave,
you
Mon.
have friends from school, from bishops at least, right? So you have a school
Yeah, yeah.
circle. I don't even have that. All
Hmm.
of my friends now, because after MBA, I worked in Chennai for 3 years. So a bunch of friends I'd made. What happened was, like I said, last year of engineering, I teamed up with a couple of other guys, and because we started getting good, like good enough to start going outstation, and when you go, there's also that equation, right? When you're going for outstation quizzes, you are spending money to travel. Like I have to win at least to break even, and then if I win
Yeah.
more, it's a bonus, right? If I break even, I'm paying for the fun of quizzing. It's paying itself off. That's good enough of an equation. So we were like, okay, we're good enough to start traveling. So 2013, the IIT Madras Fest Sarang is the first time Meepa and Prabhu traveled. And then I started going like, I think 2013 to 15 was some of the best times in my life. Also some of the worst times in my life because I did my MBA in Bombay. I didn't really have a great time. Staying in Bombay on a budget is really hard. It's not fun at
Hmm.
all. Um, and I didn't relate to a lot of my classmates in MBA as well. I Not to blame them entirely. I think I also didn't put as much of an effort. Again, I don't really have friends per se from my MBA as well that I'm super in touch with.
Hmm.
Um, but on the flip side, because I was in Bombay and I was not at home, uh, college was I was in marketing, so college was super easy. There wasn't much to study at or worry about. So I
Hmm.
was literally like this quizzing. You can call me a quizzing nomad or a quizzing whore. I would be there everywhere, right? So as long as Pai Prabhu or Omkar was there, anyone would like. I was like, hey, we're all friends. Whatever team I can make, I'm just gonna go. I'll travel and I'll make money. And again, not without sounding too much of a pompous ass, I think around that time I had started to get good enough where if I could be confident enough to travel, saying I'll win something, I'll place somewhere, and I'll make enough to at least cover the cost of my trip, if not more. Right? So I'd gone
Yeah.
to Kerala and Gujarat. I'd gone to TN, of course. I'd gone to
Mhm.
Pune from Bombay. Where else? Wherever there was a quiz in Central or South India, I was like, fuck it, I don't care. Hyderabad, I'd gone to Nalsar as well. I'm like, I'll go. And what would happen is the same 30, 40 people, you see them
Would show up.
everywhere, right? Because quizzing
Hmm.
is a fairly insular and
Hmm.
fairly small circle. So you meet the same guys again and you relate very strongly on this shared interest of knowledge, which takes a big chunk of your life, right? So you have
Mhm.
lot to talk about. Eventually, there's inside jokes. There's a lot of the
That
foundations of
kind
a
of,
good,
yeah,
long-lasting friendship,
mm,
and that has
that
borne me
definitely
like
is the case.
the same friends are still some of my closest friends. The very closest are all friends from good. So that is what it has given me beyond just the enjoyment of attending a quiz, right? And for that, in a sense, I'll always be eternally grateful
Grateful
to
for to the
the
medium.
quizzing
Yeah,
circuit. Yeah.
fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
We forgot to talk about the movie. Let's
But
go
yeah, I
back to the
think I
movie.
think that gives us a good sense of I think at least for me, whatever I wanted to put out in terms of what quizzing means to me, uh,
Hmm.
I did. Uh, I think the movie largely shows that, right, as well, which is
Hmm.
it does mean a lot to him because it connects him to his father, it connects him to this pursuit of maybe useless knowledge, but as somebody said in this quizzing documentary that they made a few years ago, I think it was Rajiv Rai who had said, quizzes are like magpies, we collect shiny, useless things.
Hmm.
Like the fact that Molotov cocktail, let's take that example, right? It got its name because during this Finnish-Russian war, the Russians were dropping bombs on the Finns and saying, we're not dropping bombs, we're dropping bread baskets. Typical Russian
Hmm.
propaganda. The
Yeah.
Finnish were like, oh, if they're dropping bread baskets, we should give them, if they're dropping bread for us, we should give them something back to drink with it, right?
Hmm.
And thus, the Finns would make these makeshift weapons and throw them on the planes who were dropping these bombs. Uh, and thus, the weapon was called the Molotov cocktail. Molotov being the Russian general who ordered these bombings, and cocktail because, hey, that's a drink that goes with the bread.
Hmm.
Now, in and of itself, this is pretty useless information, right? This is not going to
Yeah.
help you progress at work. It's not going to help you get anywhere with the ladies, which is an aspect of the movie I definitely want to talk about, which is super unrealistic. It doesn't really help you practically in life, but it's just a fun fact. Can't we enjoy things just because they're interesting, right? And Cuisine celebrates that, which is what I love the most about.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too, but okay.
Yeah,
We'll get
let's.
into it. So yeah, let's yeah. So another memorable moment, so to speak, rather the most memorable in a way, but purely unbelievable. So where okay, so quizzing, as far from an Indian perspective, is largely a male-dominated circle. Occasionally, there is a small contingent of women who have to fight a strong sense of bias and just a lot of shit to even just to be a part of these circles because there are assholes in every situation, right? So in the movie,
Yeah,
Alice Eve's character wants to be on television, so she's kind of soaking up information from whichever possible avenue she can, and she's kind of latching on to groups which will help her get to where she wants to get to. And this again is the whole. It's like in about time where where Donald Gleason's character is attracted to what to I think Margot Robbie's character.
It's
It has
no
a
Margot
very
Robbie.
similar
Yeah.
connotation, very similar
Mm.
connotation where it's like stupidly hot woman, geeky guy. It's not going to go anywhere, but the geeky guy is the assumption that it's going to go somewhere because the girl has some sort of an interest in him. The, the trope has been played out forever, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to quizzing, this is not alien. This is very common.
So to give it more
Mm.
context, what Abhin is saying, right? So for those who for those of you know, engineering in India is the gender ratio is heavily skewed towards men, anyways, right? Quizzing is like the engineering college within engineering colleges. So like within
Essentially,
colleges, you have like a very gendered hobby. I don't know if it's uh, obviously it's not that women aren't interested in gender now. That's a stupid assumption too. That's a stupid like
yeah.
uh, whatever take away from it, right? I think it's more like you rightly said. There is the problematic side of quizzing is there is the tendency to have in jokes. It's a very exclusionary circle if you let it be. And the point that you made, right, which is I don't know what came first, the lack of or maybe just quizzing attracts these homebody boys who lack the social skills to sort of interact with the opposite gender. Uh,
It's like
it
gamers.
makes yeah, it is like gamers, and I'll be the first one to say I'm not very good at I wasn't very good at uh, like speaking, and especially around the age when you're 18, 19 and stuff, like hormones all over the place, shit can go very wrong and stuff. And I wasn't very good. And in Dubai, I was in a
What a
school which
fucking
wasn't co-ed.
liar. But go on. Oh, you're such a
Okay.
liar. Go on.
But in Dubai, I was not even in a co-ed school, right? So imagine you're 8 to 13 or like 9 to 14, you have had zero interaction with girls. How that fucks you up, right? So I was like,
Wow.
all ends up. So anyway, coming back to the point. So it attracts people who probably aren't very good at interacting with women. So whether they want to or whether they're doing it intentionally or not, they maybe don't it's not they're not super welcoming to women. Some of them are outright creeps. We've had cases,
Yeah.
we've had people called out, we've had people ostracized from quiz clubs for stuff like this, for sexual harassment and shit. So there are unwitting, not creeps, maybe unwelcome people, and there are very definite creeps as well. So exclusionary, not women not probably feeling safe or welcome, all of these things, and it's sort of like a self-perpetuating cycle, right? Things are improving now. Quiz clubs are actively trying to make things exclusionary. I would say Bombay Quiz Club was among the first and most proactive to do that.
and
So
I and
things
I
are
say this as
improving.
somebody, yeah,
Yeah.
I say this as somebody who felt that a lot, and I have been
Mm.
part of the quizzing circuit I mean, I was a part of the quizzing circuit, but then it came a point, I think around 2016 to 17, where I felt the culture had just like it had collapsed inward. But it felt very
Mm.
much like a bit of a circle jerk, and I think that props to the organization for understanding that. And I think one big proponent of this is probably Sai Ganesh,
Yeah.
who runs a very famous Instagram channel called India Wants to Know, and he also runs a supremely popular pop culture quiz called PopKama, which I went for last year, and it
You went
and he
for.
had people,
Yeah, and
huh?
why don't you say you won? What do you mean you went for?
No, no, I'm going to get to me winning later, but the idea is I went there, and the first thing that I noticed was I don't see familiar faces. Yes, there
Mm.
are a
Which
few
is a good
people
thing.
that have, yeah, I like there are a few people who've been there a while, and ultimately they will end up qualifying. That's fine. But when Sai said, "Can you please put up your hands, like who this is, like for whom this is your first Popki Kamai, or who this is your first quiz?" And it was such a big number, and to which I was like, "Oh, the KQ is doing something right here. It's like it's really bringing together. It has like kept an eye out for being a little more inclusive, and it's nice to see that they
Yeah.
aren't they it's not just the same bunch of people. It's the circle has definitely grown wider.
Yeah.
Uh,
I though now
so yeah,
attend quizzes just to meet my quiz teammates, just because I want to meet my friend who I At this point, it is my friends who I coincidentally go for quizzes with. It's the other way around,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
otherwise, I don't get to meet them outside of quizzing as much. I've told them I don't have the time per se. Maybe twice or thrice in a year I do attend a quiz. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's like 3 or 4 times I'll go attend a quiz just so I can, just get that periodic dopamine hit of sitting together in a circle, cracking. You need that fix every once in a while. But
Yes.
coming back, yeah. So the point that we
Hmm.
were making, right? Like I was saying, you don't get a lot of chances to interact with women to have any sort of riz whatsoever. So when you look at the movie and you're like, this guy, I have all the time in the day for James McAvoy, right? Like charming as fuck, looks good, all of that, fine. But the character is this nerdy quizzer, and this dude, a quizzer, is essentially, it's a bit of a stretch, but essentially pulling or trying to pull two women. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Right?
Yeah.
Go back to hanging out with your guy friends after the quiz, smoking a J, and discussing answers and saying, "Damn, I missed this. Damn, we could have got that. We would have placed if not for this, that." Who the fuck do you think you are going around
There is a
doing
there is a very specific kind of woman who is attracted to people like that, and it's someone who looks at the person and says, "You're a weird fellow, but you're my weird fellow." And if you look across all our partners, they're all at some point,
Yeah,
all the
I'm
partners,
married to
doesn't
one
count.
such person.
Yeah, who just looks at you and goes, "Yeah, fine, sure, whatever." He's not
Yeah,
he's
she's
not
like,
crazy.
"You're weird, but
Yeah.
it's fine."
Yeah, you're the safe kind of weird. You're not the I have to call the cops kind of weird. Like someone a bit
What's
of
the worst
a
that can happen? You'll give me a barrage of information that I have zero interest in.
exactly like fuck it. That's the extent of it. That I can deal with. I don't have to worry about toxic masculinity and gaslighting bullshit coming my way. It's just weird, like just dumb info dumps that I have to deal with from time to time with weird taste in films.
Yes, that, and when we go on trips, I have my Google Keep open always because I'm like, you never know, right? Somebody will say something interesting, especially if it's like guided tours and stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, so in Uzbekistan, there was this funda that the guide said, and immediately I was like furiously typing Google Keep. Poonam was looking at me, some new funda you found. It's like, yeah, yeah, awesome. Like, let's go, keep walking. So yeah, these are the side effects
Uh,
of marrying a croissant.
yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
that part
Do you
was
have
a
any
bit
other memorable
unrealistic
moments?
in the movie.
Hmm.
The only other part I want to talk about, Charles Dance as her dad, where he when he's high bumps into her parents when they're both naked for some reason. Uh, Pretty out of place the entire scene. That was a bit
Hmm.
jarring. And other than that, I think largely the second act was a little weak. I felt it felt like the movie was going nowhere. Sort of was filling time, which for a 90-minute movie sounds bizarre, right? Why are you filling time? Full confession: the part where, again, spoiler alert, the part where he gets caught on the show, and when he has to like go through it, I'll be honest, I sort of skipped through it because I was like, it's too anxiety inducing. It's like not whatever. It's a mix of anxiety, cringe. Because as a quizzer, that's the worst thing that can happen, right? Like if you're googling and you get caught, that is the worst thing that can happen to you. This happened in our
We've seen it
college.
happen in real
You
time.
might,
I know.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. So should we take? I'm not going to take names. I'm not going to take college names either. There was a there was a team from a certain law school. Let's call it that way. Who had come, and they had come to our college quiz fest, um, and they were caught using, I don't know, Google Shazam. They were caught using Shazam because it was an audio question. They were caught using Shazam. One of our seniors was conducting the quiz. He saw them. He walked up. He picked the phone out of the guy's hand and threw it across, saying, "You're out. Get the fuck out. I saw you were googling. Leave." And I think something like that, at least the other quizzes will always, once you're caught, that is not going away. Right? They will always be seen as, oh, you were the team that was, in people's heads, they're always the team
The
that was
stigma.
googling.
Yeah. Hmm.
To so much so that one of those guys, is now a colleague of Poonam's friends in a different law firm. And he was telling Poonam's friend, hey, I know Rohit because we used to quiz together. And Poonam asked me, do you know this guy? This is 10 years from, or 12 years from that time. I was like, oh, that Googler. So in my head, he's forever the Googler, right? So these things never go away. So when that scene
Yeah.
in the movie, I was just like, I can't watch it. This is my absolute nightmare. Those at 1 minute or so, I just skipped forward. I was like, I can't watch this. It's too cringe inducing. That was the moment,
Yeah.
and the rest of the movie is very paint by numbers. It's a lot of heart, a lot of feel good, but it is what it is. Very paint by numbers.
Hmm. Exactly. Very much a run of the mill finish, I'd say, to the film. He gets caught. He gets caught because he gets overexcited. This is
Yeah,
he basically pulls the team out of the mud that Benedict Cumberbatch's character puts them in, and then in the last section, he just, without thinking, he just blurts out the answer because he happens to see the card lying around the table that he is next to. I think in scenarios like this is essentially when you tell somebody being like, "Hey, your cards are here. I would suggest removing the top half because I can see what's on the sheet." And that would have been a more that should have been the right thing to do. But I mean, film drama. It is what it is.
yeah. No, and even to this day,
Uh,
like in prelims, when people sit next to each other, sometimes the team discusses loudly, and uh, that happens, right? They're like, "Hey, we can hear you," and sometimes you hear the right answer from them. There have been instances where if you've got the same answer, well and good, right? There are instances, it has happened to me once or twice, where you hear somebody's answer, not because you're eavesdropping, because they're just being loud, they don't realize it. And their answer is different from yours. And when you hear the answer, you're like, this fits better. It's probably the right answer. But you can't write it, right? Because it's in bad faith. So these things do happen. And like you said, the right thing to do is to say, hey, I can see this card here, please. So
hmm,
you tell the team, hey, you're being too loud, please like
hmm.
control yourself
Guys,
because
stop. Yeah, yeah.
nobody wants to be put in an awkward situation, right? uh,
This
but
happened. This
yeah,
happened recently in the PopKama thing where the team had the right answer and we could hear them. But then I was like, okay, I don't think we should go for it, and it became a whole thing. But yeah, we
yeah,
didn't end up
it's
going
a,
for
it's
it. It ended
a
up being the right answer, and my team were pissed off about it. I got hit and shit. It was a whole thing.
yeah, no, this happened to
Mm.
me and Pai in IIT
Mm.
Bombay one quiz. Two-person team, and there's the other team was Krishna Akhil and Rohan Naidu. You probably know them, right?
Mm.
It was
Yeah.
down to us. I think we were 5 points apart, 1-2, 1-2, right? Whatever, first and second. So there was a question which went to them. They answered, but it wasn't the exact set of words that the QM Surajman wanted. Uh, then it passed to us. It was something to do with R plus L equals J, the Game of Thrones thing,
Okay. Huh.
and they sort of had the answer, but I remember not my best moment. I guess I remember saying, "Hey, we have a better answer." Technically, I was right. Maybe not in the spirit of
Mm.
the game, right? Because they sort of had the answer. I was like, "No, I have the exact answer." And I said R plus L equals J means this, Rega Liana means John, la, 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 whatever. So he gave us the full 10 points. We won on the back of that. That was the last or second last question of the quiz. And I remember Naidu and Krishna Akhil turning back and like staring at us like, how could you do this? I said, hey, we worked off of your answer, but we phrased it better, right? So we're not wrong, but yes, it does feel like a slightly dirty win. So
Mm.
you have
Yeah.
these I wouldn't call them gray areas,
Moments.
but it's just like,
Mm.
yeah, just like this. Sometimes you are a little, you're going for the win, right? And
Mm.
I'll be
Exactly.
honest, in that
Mm.
MBA, in those MBA years of mine, 2014, 2015, because that was the time when I'm like, hey, I am going to see how good I can get at this, right? And there were, again, not to get too pompous, but there was a phase in 2015 where Pai and I just had to show up to a quiz and people would just be like, fuck, it's done,
Yeah. There's no
right?
point. You
Yeah,
became
there's no point.
what, and I'll say what you became what
Yeah,
Varun
Santosh and
Rajiv
Varun
and
Rajiv.
Santosh were to us. Exactly, right? So Santosh Swaminathan and Varun Rajiv to us, where they'd walk in, we'd be like, "Oh, this quiz is dead," because they would wipe the floor with
Yeah,
us. Mm.
and then
Only
it would be like, hey,
the only
the fight is
exception
for
being,
second.
yeah, Yeah, the only exception would be if I were to run a quiz, people would be like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then it'll end with Abhin, "I didn't know, dude." What kind of?
No, so in fact, on that note, I'll last couple of minutes. I know we are sort of running on long on time, but Pai and I had this thing where okay, uh, we seem to be winning quizzes. How do we make this interesting, right? Because the self-actualization of winning is not giving us enough satisfaction. We're like,
Oh
let's
yeah,
make
like
it
you've reached
more
that point.
interesting. And you know the story.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
this is the 2015 UTPT, the RB Quiz Fest, and we're like, okay, let's make it interesting. Let's try and win each quiz. So here we've already assumed we're going to win every quiz. Okay, hubris max, right? So hubris max. So we're like, let's try and win each quiz by a higher margin than the previous one. Imagine levels
Hmm.
of hubris. One is to assume, yeah, we are going to win all the quizzes. That's a given. Then we're like, let's try and put a challenge for ourselves where we'll try and win each quiz by a higher margin. Third level of hubris, he went and told everybody this. So, guys, White have decided for this quiz fest, what we're going to try and do is try and win each quiz by a higher margin than the last. We've like told
Oh,
everyone.
it's Michael Jordan trash
Yeah,
practices.
yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
first quiz was a SciTech. Yeah, SciTech. And we had a third, Kivtir, Ritvik. I
Hmm.
don't know how
Yeah,
much you
yeah.
know
Hmm.
Kivtir. Yeah. So,
Little bit.
and I'm sure Kivtir won't feel bad about me saying this if he does listen to it. Kivtir is a DBC, and that's his strength, right? We wanted a DBC, a
Hmm.
database too, because Pai and I could work out the fun day. He knew the variables, right? The who, the where,
Hmm.
the what. So three of us, we've told everyone, right? So first quiz SciTech, we win by 100 points, which in itself is like a fairly good margin. Like nowadays, nobody's winning. Like we
Hmm.
are not
Hmm.
winning any quiz by 100. So 100 points. Then it was the India quiz. We won by 110 points. Then there was the end quiz. We won by 120 points. So we were on track to achieve what we wanted 100, 110, 120. Finally, Gen quiz, right? And we won by 105 points. No, we won by 115 points. We would have won by 125. Uh, had the last question come to us. We knew the answer. We didn't bounce. It would have come to us on bounce. We would have actually done the thing we wanted, right? But the team before us, which is Abid, they got the answer and they denied us those 10 points. So we won by 115, right? So we sort of dropped from 120 of the previous quiz. So after the quiz, Abid and I were like, fuck yes, we stopped you. I'm like, we still won by 150. So, those kind of flexes are never happening again in life. I've never been that. Once you get into open quizzing, then you're like, yeah, you think you are something. You are a big fish in a very small pond. Now you are a nobody. It's once you
So
get into
I
open,
had that.
you get humbled very
Yeah,
quickly.
there is the KQ has a movie. I don't think they run it anymore.
They do, they do. Son
Has a
of
movie
Lumière is
quiz
there
called.
every Askans,
uh,
bro. It's still there.
Oh really? I went for one. The first one I went for twice. This has happened in my life, but I've been humbled beyond repair. The first
Yeah.
was when I went, and this is humbled in a way where it's not about knowledge. It was more of a scarring experience, and it was a humble experience. So KQA at a point has, I think they still run it to this day. Maybe it's a little more like sanitized. They have a quiz called Lao Me Thanda, which is and the annual love and sex quiz. The first time Rohit and I went for it, I think we went in teams of two. I think he and Pai were in the same team. Me and
Yes.
Roshan Karte, who now is now in the US, were in the same team. And
When I
what
placed also.
proceeded to we second, third. You guys came third. We came fourth or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I remember sitting through that quiz, and there is a clear demarcation in my life. The person I was before that Laume Thanda, and there's a person after that Laume Thanda. Because some of the shit that I saw and read on that in that quiz that day, I
Yeah.
don't think it has ever gone back to being that insane ever again.
Yeah. I've only attended that LMT. After that I did, I was like, this is a weird quiz. And there are fun day from that quiz, which I still tell to non-quizzing folks, right? Like Rusty Trombone, and Dirty Sanchez, Dirty Hitler. Just for shock value, I'll tell what these things are, and people are like,
Cuban
"Why do
steamer.
you know this? This is disgusting." Like all of it is because it's one quiz I attended, which
The
I'll never
wakame
attend.
sake. Like so many things, right? Just that
Oh
stick
yeah,
out
the
to you.
wakame sake. Oh my god.
There is a place in Indrana called Wakami, and I look at it and I can't help laughing. I want to go out. Every single time I pass it by, I'm like, hmm,
Yeah,
do
that
they
and
know?
the movie quiz you mentioned, SOL or Son of Lumiere, that happens every year.
Oh
The
my
Bangalore
god.
AQA conducts. I remember
Hmm.
so before the first Son of Lumiere and after, right? Before the first Son of Lumiere, everyone's like, I watch movies. After the first Son of Lumiere, they're like, I watch movies? I don't. Clearly, I've
There
not
was
seen shit.
something I don't know. There was a question where I realized I was so out of my depth. There's a question from a Tamil movie, I think, where
Mm.
there's a song that's playing and you can hear the singing violin, the violin that is used to keep the the singer in pitch. I had no
Mm.
fucking clue what that was. I was just like, and the answer came, and there was one such thing that stuck out, and there were like random bits of information that you think you could get, you think you're aware of it, but so bloody obscure. And I was like, dude, there's a whole other world of films that I need to keep reading up on, especially
Yeah.
down
No,
south. Like
and
the regional cinema is
these
something we
longer,
find ourselves wholly undersupported on.
exactly. No, and
Mm.
these longer quizzes and quiz fests where you have 2 3 days in college, you could do it because you ran on that energy, right? But quizzing
Mm.
is a very I'm not going to compare ourselves to chess grandmasters, but you know how
Mm.
chess GMs lose a lot of weight in a match because even though they're sitting stationary, you are burning up a lot of
Mm.
calories
Brain
and
power.
taking a brain
Mm.
power to a much lesser extent. Not like chess GMs, but quizzing is a very taxing activity, right? Because you're like super into it, like your lateral brain is switched on and you're like you're very on, right? So 2 3 hours beyond that, it's very hard to like. For me now, beyond 3 hours, I start switching off. This is what we like non-quizzers or casuals would do, right? I start
Mm.
switching off now, and I can't do these quiz fests where back to back 2 3 days. I'm like, bro, I just can't. I think there's too much of
I'll
life
show up for the
coming
one
in
thing. Yeah,
between now.
yeah. Basically, like you want to go there and have a good time. One, with the people you go for. Two, the kind of quizzes you're going
Yeah,
for, and you want to leave. I feel like given the stress of
yeah, I want
life
to
and everything
see.
that comes with it, yeah, you just want to decompress, and you're going to go into an environment where like, okay, today I'm going to eat shit food, and I'm going to like meet my friends, and I'm going to have a good time. And if I place well and good, because see, let's be honest, we're extremely competitive individuals. There are times at quizzes where like so for those of you who've known me for let's say between 2017 to now, always perceive me to be a very mellow dude. There are people who have
Yeah,
not
yeah,
seen me
yeah.
in quizzes.
Yeah, same.
These are
So
people who have
people are like,
not
oh,
seen me
Rohit
at
is very
quizzes.
laid back and he's very,
Hmm.
chill and whatever. Like, yeah, outside of this thing, come to a quiz, I'll fuck you up.
Yeah, but once, yeah, yeah, at a quiz, and especially like they're like, oh, Abhin's not competitive. I'm like, bro, you have not seen me in quizzes.
When I attend for those 2 3 hours, I'm back. I'm again that person. It's like that brain switches on. It's like,
Even at
yes,
the recent PopKama,
no
I was
quarter.
just like the last question, the one question that ultimately won us the quiz. They were like, "Oh, how can you give no clues?" I said, "They said they were like pounce. If you know the answer, pounce, and but if you don't pounce, give the clue." I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Like, they're like,
Yeah,
how can you do that? I'm like, no. If you know what to answer it. If you don't know the answer, shut the fuck up. And so let it go around. And and this was like, and they're like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, no, that's not how this shit works, dude. And then it went around, and it was all gave bullshit answers. So we won the quiz on that question. So, and then I caught myself going, "It's not that deep. Why did you do that?" And I'm like, "That's inherently who you are."
no, that is it's an irrevocable rewiring. I was saying, right? Mental rewiring.
Yeah.
The need to know
Yeah.
things and the need to compete. Like this friend, who's a friend of ours, Shresh. I think he probably made it sound a little bigger than it was. He said, at the end of the day, we are also athletes. We are mental athletes, not physical athletes.
Hmm.
But that same the competitive spirit exists. I'm like calling ourselves mental athletes is a bit much. It's a hobby, not a
It's a bit of
profession.
a stretch, guys. This is a
Yeah,
hobby. This
but
is
I
a
get the
pastime, but
sentiment,
it's a
right?
pass.
The
Yeah. It's a. I
competitiveness
know what
is
he's going
very
for.
much there. Yeah, the competitiveness is very much there, right? It's still there. It's just suppressed because we're not putting ourselves in those situations. You put us there, it's right back, right?
Yeah,
And
there are a
speaking
lot of
of
mind games you put. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
on, go
and
on.
I was just
Hmm.
gonna get to that, right? The one character that again, a lot of the characters in the movie remind us of people. Yes, uh, the character that Benedict Cumberbatch plays, I forgot his name, Patrick,
Patrick.
Patrick something. Again, we won't take names, but every time I was watching Patrick on screen, I'm like, I know this guy. I know this guy. I know many of these, but one guy in particular, Patrick, is exactly him.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have that one guy who's just like, I am here because
Who
this is
forgets
my
that
thing.
we're doing all this for fun?
It's not fun for that person. It's like fun has
It's
long
not
since
fun, yeah?
departed. Now it is just it is it's drive, and there's everything else has melted. You're just like, I'm here
Yeah,
to win. I'm here to win, and I'm here to prove that I'm the best. Fuck you guys.
yeah.
And these are
Yes,
smart,
exactly.
supremely smart dudes. And when you know the kind of campus colleges they get into, you're like, okay, I see the kind. That drive probably extends to some other aspects of their lives, which is
Yeah, yeah.
respectable. But in a setting where you go into chill and everybody else is like fully wound up, you're like,
Yeah, which is the other dynamic, right? While we are competitive within ourselves, it's not we're not sniping each other. We're not like, hey, you're wrong. I know it better or whatever, right? We wouldn't be like, don't give him those 5 points, give it to me. So until the first time these Chennai quizzes came for a Bangalore quiz fest, I was like, hey, this is nice, it's a bit of fun. Sure, we swap places about who comes second because one Rajiv and Santosh are anyway coming first. So who comes second? There's a bit of a musical chair happening there, and the same group of fun. These Chennai quizzes coming. I'm like, why the fuck are they taking this so seriously? Those guys were like, they'll cut your dick for 5 points, dude. They will slit your throat and like burn your ancestors' ashes to win. Again, all said and done,
hmm.
all of those Chennai quizzes are now my best friends, right? So in like in hindsight now it's all whatever. But at that point, I remember that was the one where although South Sea is fairly homogeneous, this one thing was and Bangalore Chennai traditionally has always had a quiz rivalry where every each city wants to
They're all tight
one up.
now.
Yeah, yeah, we're all best friends, but that backdrop has always
Yeah,
existed. You want to one up the other
yeah,
city.
yeah. Hmm.
But damn, I think we barely spoke about the movie. This is
I
definitely
think
one
this is a
for
two
us
please
to not
extra.
talk about.
This is yeah, two please extra. This is going to be we'll have to record another episode, which we will for sure.
Yeah, but this was fun.
On an entire thing. But like to pull this back into like kind of, I just want to end on career trajectories for this film and of all the actors in the film. And I want to talk about McAvoy for just a short bit because '05, '06, '07 he kind of like catapulted into the spotlight, right? Like he
Mm.
had this, which I think was a hit in the UK. 2005, he was Mr. Tumnus in the Chronicles of Narnia, so that was like a big thing for him. I think
Oh
that was his
yeah.
breakout role.
Mm.
'06 he had this, and he had this movie completely got forgotten because he was nominated for another movie in '06. Because the quiz,
Oh,
Rohit,
Last
please,
King of
what
Scotland.
movie did Last King of Scotland? And 2007, I think he was nominated again for another big hit.
Atonement.
Yes. So he went on a mad run in this
Sorry, for
between
those
'05
30
to '06.
seconds, you just switched the quizzer on me. So I don't know if you wanted me to
Yeah.
answer atonement or you wanted to say it. I was like, don't say atonement.
No, I
I
wanted you to
I
say
so
it.
effortlessly slipped back into that mode. It can just happen like that.
And before
Uh,
that, I think he was doing smaller bit part roles. I think he was on a TV show in
mhm.
2001. Him and Michael Fassbender were both on this show, but then I guess so was everybody at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Talking about Band of Brothers.
yes,
Because Michael Fassbender debuted with Band of Brothers.
yes, Michael Fassbender, David, and James McAvoy is in Band of Brothers. I think James McAvoy is in Band of Brothers. Andrew Scott is in Band of Brothers.
He
Um,
is
if I'm not, he's like one of the
Tom Hanks has done the industry
corporates
a
who
huge favor.
dies. Tom Hanks produced this movie. This is produced by Tom Hanks. Start of a 10.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, so and written by David Nicholls, who's written One Day. I think if you for those of you more familiar with his work, it's a
Hmm.
series. The
The
movie,
TV
it's also a
or the movie?
series. Both.
Ye-
The book, he wrote the
Oh,
book
both.
and then wrote the
Oh, you're
screenplay.
saying that way. Got it. Got
Uh, Everybody in this movie became famous. I don't think a single person didn't become famous. Rebecca
it. Yeah.
Hall went on to have has had a storied career. Benedict Cumberbatch, come 2010, was a household name.
Yeah.
James Corden, also a household name. Dominic Cooper did a bunch of he was from, I think, Marvel onwards, he kind of had a jump between the 2010s to the 2017s. Charles Dance, this is pre Game of Thrones, so his career bounced back up. Some of Britain's best talent was assembled in this film. Mark Gatiss, who
Yeah.
plays Bamba Gascoigne,
Hmm.
Bamba Gascoigne, of course, a legendary figure in the quizzing circuit, is the host of University Challenge, right, for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He's basically like the Alex
the
Trebek of the UK. Yeah.
Basically, huh? And then QI became, I think, was the follow up to this, which wasn't exactly university based,
Yeah,
but
it's
QI
more QI
was
is more fun. Like UC is
it's
very
little, yeah,
quiz. QI is like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
you
very
learn things, but
mm.
it's lighthearted. It's fun.
UC is still running, like it's still very much on.
Yeah, yeah. I can't watch UC and all, bro. This one-liner
Yeah.
questions with buzzer, any quiz with buzzer, I'm out. Are you testing my knowledge or my
We have
reflex?
a
I can't do this.
story, so we'll end it on this
Yeah.
buzzer questions, right? So Sid and I were like was on the pod. Sid and I were school quiz teammates. We both went for quiz like you. We went for quiz tryouts in the ninth grade, and the first question that was asked was, "Who is the new Bond?" And everybody was staring, and I went, "Oh," and Sid went, "Oh," and we looked at each other and said, "You and I have synergy," and it just became a thing. We became like a quiz team, and we went for Exquisite, which was the biggest school quiz at the time, qualified and came down with a fat zero. And why I remember it is 2007, 2008. It's about, oh, God knows, 17 years since since it happened. But I remember because Sid, it was the last question, and it was Starlink Atlantic. What is it? Starline only, no? Starline, the company that manufactured that
The
built
Titanic.
the
Yeah.
Titanic. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was
White
the
Star
question,
Line
and Sid
or
had
White Star.
White Star Line. So it was the question, and we needed to get that question to stay in the quiz. And Sid, who had his hand on the buzzer, went, "Oh!" And Vijay Ramesh, who was sitting across us, looked at us with his hand on the buzzer and just pressed down. So Vijay, I think I didn't know Vijay at the time, and we have like hung out in New York since. He went on to become a PhD in ornithology. Supremely like sits in the Western Ghats like 6 months a year. Fucking insane, dude. Uh,
Nice.
it's you know
I knew Tiger was
he I
always
think we
into
met.
birds. I didn't know he'd end up doing a PhD in ornithology. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
halfway
it was
Bond.
insane. Like yeah,
The
so
OG James Bond.
yeah, the old James Bond, right? Yeah. So I remember this happening and us getting revenge on it in another buzzer question. Like we hate buzzers. Like I fucking hate
Yeah,
the sight of
testing
buzzers. I'm not.
reflex is stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. But but he didn't bring this up until we were in like competing in college, and he said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "I I don't exactly." And he was like, "Dude, I'm the guy who pressed White Star Line Atlantic in Exquisite and knocked you guys out." And ever since then, I have made sure I've whacked Vijay's ass in every single quiz I've gone for. Sorry, bro. It's a deeply personal moment.
Oh my God. Wow.
And I was
Resolving
like, oh,
childhood
and I told
traumas through
Sid,
quiz.
yeah, and Sid was like, what the fuck? And we just became a thing. But it's all jokes.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's,
so
I
very
mean, we
much
could
an
keep going. There are
episode
so
for,
many, yeah, there's
yeah.
so many stories.
Very much an episode for quizzing, for love of quizzing, for quizzing circles. We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming with a few tweaks. We'll be back with the next episode for this. Rohit and I will keep recording because we've been out of the loop for so long. Enough of a break. I am getting itchy. I want to get back into editing and putting stuff out. So there'll be more episodes coming in the pipeline. I guess this is not everyone's cup of tea. Like there is a movie. This was an episode on quizzing with a movie attached to it, as opposed to being the other way around. But it is what it is, right? Just one of those. Forgive us. This is one for us. We'll make sure the next 10 are for you. Until
Yep.
then, yeah, take care.
Yeah. Bye bye.
You have anything to say? You anything? I thought you were going to add something.
No, I was just gonna say bye.
Oh, okay, fine. Sorry. Please like, share, subscribe if you made it to the end of the episode. See you.